Yeah, so just so we're clear, what the objective is that we want to have a complete list of the organizations which are on the boardwalk soliciting or offering services to people that are in need on the boardwalk. And so far I've heard a handful, with the ones that are mentioned.
St. Joseph's VA.
St. Joseph's, which one?
St. Joseph's VA, EPAC, and I just need the contact information about an organization.
And I have no, but I haven't had anybody come forward and say that they've ever seen or heard of somebody who's out there actually offering services. So,
well, there is someone. She was there today. She comes every day and feeds.
no names. The organization is
New Life Society.
New Life Society. Okay. So.
And then there's Anthony. Harris, P-E-R-S-E.
So, Teresa, can we have put it on you then next week to organize a list of the organizations which offer services on the boardwalk?
And you want to, so you want the ones that, because some of them do come on, they have to go over and talk to people, they just don't have a regular presence. And I think
any of the organizations that help people on the boardwalk or that have a presence, or I think both, you know? We don't have to get crazy with it, like, you know, top 5.
okay.
All we're trying to do at this point is just to identify, so that when somebody says, you know, what organizations are available to me as a person in need, you know, we can give them some guidance as to where they can turn. Okay, so number 2 on the update of announcements is the Beach Clean the Rose Avenue storm drain. So the group that got to take the walk with us on the way here got to see the cesspool at the end of the Rose Avenue and get a chance to smell that as well, and realize that that is a you know, toxic waste dump that's pouring right into onto our beach and into our bay at Rose Avenue, and it's one of the last in the whole Santa Monica Bay that is unfiltered. So everything that goes from the streets of Venice goes directly, or sorry, all the streets of Los Angeles when it rains gets washed into the storm drain, and that is the worst of the worst. It's a toxic place for kids to play and fish to swim. And so the concept that's put forth by the Oceanfront Walk Committee is to do a concert series. Santa Monica has its own concert series, and Venice needs a concert series, and we're working with Heal the Bay to do what they do and provide their expertise and to tell us how it is that we can actually clean that. And we're working with some of the organizations, Google and some of the other corporations in Venice that have expressed potential interest in sponsoring. And so, and we've got also a list of music managers that would provide artists and to do so the Venice concert series on the Rose Avenue Pier and try to revitalize that. That was originally in 1968, as Sheila can attest personally. She saw the Doors play on the Rose Avenue Pier. Wow. No, you were busy.
She's busy over at Westminster.
But anyway, that's so that's an ongoing project of the Oceanfront Walk Committee, and
we're looking to see if we can make it happen. And
has anyone contacted Beaches and Harbors?
Yes.
Yes.
And they're helping us determine which city
which
organization has control over the top of the Rose Avenue Pier to see who we would get a permit from. But she was really nice and positive about it because they don't control it and it's not on the
You should go to
stand.
Public Works and ask
But
them.
isn't that Los Angeles
She
Park?
reached out to Public Works for us, and I would love to. I don't have that contact, but right now that's where it stands. She reached out to her contact at Public Works for us, and is going to get back to us on if that's the correct person to talk to, or if it's controlled by either Public Works or the City of Los Angeles. So we're waiting to hear back. But eventually, too, we should probably, after we hear back, if we can move forward with that, put together some type of I mean, it'd be great to have a person to help raise money and organize raising money for that.
I think the first thing we would need to do though is make sure you figure out who has authority over it.
We're on
and
it.
make sure.
Yeah.
Beaches and harbors.
I thought that's all Parks and Recs.
No.
No, once
Beaches
it's
and harbors
once it's
doesn't-
physically on the sand, it's beaches and harbors.
Oh, that's where it ends. Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, Parks and Rec has the little sliver of grass between the.
Holy
the
cool. Oh, my
yeah,
God.
pretty much that's it. They have the parking lots,
Yeah.
and they have the Windward.
Yeah,
Plaza.
wherever there isn't sand, though. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Wherever.
And there's actually a line on the bike path on the east side. If you go out there, you can see it if it's not covered with sand. And that's actually where the demarcation is between the city and Venice Park and the beaches. But after that, we couldn't find out who had responsibility for what.
Coastal development plan.
I'd love to see that.
Well, I don't say they have one, but
Yeah.
Coastal California Coastal Commission runs it.
Yeah.
So there's two urban counties.
But
Well, even
We're just talking about for this concert, who controls the actual top of the drain.
with concrete.
And the people right now that we are aware of, it's either LA City or Public Works. So we're just trying to
Right.
determine who that is, because that's the actual spot we're thinking to have.
Right.
Because the answer to having it on the beach, as I've been told, is never in a million years will it happen. Anything on the
Right.
beaches and
I
harbors.
think you gotta be real clear what you're saying. So the concrete pier itself is separate from the sand, right? So you can get a permit from the city of Los Angeles to have a band perform on the pier. Anybody who is sitting on the sand or hanging out, they're doing so on their own accord. You can't officially say this area is designated for people to sit on the sand and watch the concert because, so they just have to sort of show up. They'll never get a permit to sort of cordon off the sand. It's just a lot different than what they're doing with sand.
I need to be clear, this discussion right now is just about a permit. It's not about
It's just to see if
cleaning
we
the
can,
storm drain.
no, it's just to see if we can even do an event to raise awareness on the storm drain on top of that drain itself.
And money as well as awareness.
Yeah.
But the money, so the idea to have some kind of cleaning of the
Beach
storm drain
clean.
at site rather than, because you mentioned something about filtering the water. I think you would want filtering the water so
Yeah.
it doesn't get that contaminated.
Well, that involves now ripping up the roads and what they do is they do a whole gravel and a filtration system, which is what they did on Ocean Park,
Yeah.
But then on the
I don't have it with me right now, but there is something going on at the city level and the county level both, and I think it's more of the county level than the city level. Right now, about exactly what you're talking about, the clean water initiative, and, I can find the lead
They did one on, Thornton. They put in a gravel at Thornton. I don't know if anybody knows, Main Street where, Jim Urez's property is, across the street from that. They put in a big, they dug a huge, they put gravel in there and that was
and,
that was for
construction on the
waste
solar
celebration.
board.
Yeah,
Okay, so.
yeah, you know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, all I know is they're trying to upgrade right now. The problem is who has responsibility, and some of the cities have already taken the initiative to do this, and the county's leaning on them to do it, but they've already done it, and they want to assess so they can do it. It's in the contentious discussion stage right now, but I have to find a date for it now. because
Right.
I'm not really clear on it. I'll give it to
So
you.
we do a concert series, hopefully we're raising some money, we're raising some awareness, that can, we can get, research done into what the best ways to handle that is. Move on?
Yeah.
Okay. For discussion only? What do you got next?
You want me to talk about
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah, so everyone's interested in a BID, which is the Business Improvement District. I'm trying to figure out what role the oceanfront walk should play in that. And so this is something like for discussion with everyone right now, which is obviously like getting the bids together is a long process, but I think that the oceanfront walk committee can serve as like when ideas come in, either through the public or for our board, to record things that we'd like to see happen, to be included in that bid, when we make recommendations to that bid. So,
Right, so I think as you pointed out, the first step is the Oceanfront Walk Committee will serve as sort of a vetting process for whether or not a bid is even a good idea. And so there's been lots of back and forth on that. It's been tried before. So this is a forum by which people can talk about whether or not they think it's a good idea or not, and whether or not the Oceanfront Walk Committee wants to have a motion to move it forward before the BNC. So the first step is to talk about what we've learned about the process and how it sort of died on the vine in the past. And the main thing we've been told by several people who were involved in the last BID was it just became a matter of money. There's two kinds of bids, either the one that's based, that's business based, so that all of the businesses along the boardwalk ponying up their money together, and they can choose what it's used for, whether it's security or lighting or cleanup or a million, advertising, marketing. Pretty much, I think there's no limit to how the money can be used because it's privately raised and it's used as it's seen fit. One of the most successful ones in Los Angeles is Hollywood, and on Hollywood Boulevard, and the Hollywood Business Improvement District. We're going to have great success with sort of transforming Hollywood Boulevard to where it's become the tourist mecca that it once was, and then sort of completely went into decline. And when they got the BID together, it's now back up, and the business owners and the landlords are certainly happy. Whether or not there's other people, I don't know, but just strictly from the point of being successful as a BID, that one has been very successful. So we've been reading about that and learning about that. The landlord BID can be difficult from the standpoint of the fact that landlords many times are not present. They're not the same as the business owners, and maybe they don't even live in state, and maybe they don't have a strong opinion about what goes on the boardwalk or on their, in and around their property if they're not, as long as they're collecting the rent. So that can be difficult. So it becomes partly sort of one part PR and one part.
I'm less concerned with debating whether it's positive and negative, and more concerned with collecting the information of what people would like to see at this committee. And then as people outside of this committee start to form, whether it's you, I think you thought about heading up another, is this true? Like possibly heading up another committee that would start putting together the BID or not?
Well, apparently one of the reasons why it broke down before,
yeah,
and why all of a sudden there's like nobody there. Once they really kind of drilled down, it's a 2 to 3 year process to go through it, and there's no way to speed it up because of all the red tape that goes through.
yeah.
I think getting the vote from people, to do it, you'll get your 50% vote. But because it's such a small area, literally, it's very short. Like the most expensive bid was like $1.53 a foot a year, and that's in Hollywood or Koreatown. And they raised, because they have such tall buildings and such mass, and so many of them, they were able to raise enough money. But when it all got down to it, in order for our bid to be effective, it just plain won't raise enough money. Now, one of the other workarounds, if you want to do it, and the other thing too that happened, the police were all in favor of it. It sounded all great. We're going to have private people, a private security company come. They sat in this room, gave us a presentation. 2 guys, $15 an hour, and training and everything else. I mean, that with insurance and like a $10 or $20 million insurance policy, and they all sounded golden. At first, the police department was all in favor of it, and then Parks and Recs got in. Now you want to have private security guards up and down in the park? We don't think so. So we've got everybody carving up the turf and saying, no, 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 without anybody saying, yeah, we can do this. So another idea is to go to city council and create a line item for Venice Boardwalk. And if we could get a line item so that we can get a bigger budget. Right now, the Venice Boardwalk with, I don't know, 60 million people, I don't know how many millions come in here next to Disneyland. What?
6 million a year.
6 million a year, that sounds like, especially if you saw Saturday.
They always say 16, but you can make up any number you want.
Okay, so,
Say-
but I can guarantee you that there isn't a park in Los Angeles that has the volume of people that we do. And we need to somehow say, okay, we're a little different here. We have the foot traffic, we have the revenue source, and yet it all goes east, and we get the same amount per square foot as a park inland that's, you know, just a city lot, you know.
So this is, you're talking about something separate from the idea you're talking about.
Getting a separate line item so that we can get more services down here for sanitation and cleanup and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, cleaning up the end of that pier there. I mean, we need some money there. And, you know, at first they wouldn't do that at Pico because nobody cared about Ocean Park. Well, you know, a couple of hotels came in and all of a sudden they cared about Ocean Park. And they got it cleaned up because that smell used to be there all the time. So I think that
Well, I've heard the same thing. What is the way to get the line item?
well, we got to go to city council and get them to vote it, which sounds easy, but what we really need to do is to coordinate our troops down here. And we've got a lot of different organizations all talking about the boardwalk. We need to get Bonin and Bill, if we can get to City Hall, City Council soon enough. We need to get VNC there. We need to get a resolution probably from VNC. We need to get some kind of a roadmap, and we need to talk to the people at Parks and Recs.
So then let's just stop calling it VID because either way, you're right, we need a roadmap, right? First,
Yeah.
like whether we're doing the VID or bringing city council, because in my opinion, at some point maybe it will be both, you know, long term.
I'm all for both.
But so right now, we need to still
Yeah.
set up somebody, and I'm happy to be a part of that on a separate note with you and with, like we said, Jerde, whoever else wants to be a part of that, to start drafting that roadmap. Or do we think that that's something that's going to get established here? I'm asking.
And Carl,
our
there's ways
committees.
of time to go to Parks and Recs. It's all, whatever the councilman decides, they control Parks and Recs, so it's basically just going right to the councilman.
Well, what we need to do is to talk to Parks and Recs and say, how much would you like down here? And we need to have a crafted response, because we can just go to city council and we all walk in one day and say, we want more money down here on the boardwalk, and they're gonna say, go pound sand, and you have plenty of it.
Yeah.
And so we need to have a carefully drafted plan and a budget, and we need to get some people, and I think Victor and a few of the guys are interested in
Victor
seeing.
wants a line item down here.
Exactly. So we need them to show us what they need. Then we go to our elected and recognize Bonin and Bill will be right behind us. No problem there. But we need to work with them to start turning the other heads. And
So
So
would you
my
like to
thought
make a
is-
motion before the Oceanfront Walk Committee to create such a,
yeah, I think it'd be a great thing that my motion would be that we start with Parks and Recs, create a wish list from them that we can then, that would be something that could be bought off by, or passed by the VNC that can then go to city council so that we can get a line item for the Venice Boardwalk Park.
Now, wait a minute, is Rec and Parks, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do we have a quorum now?
yes, we did Ron, showed up, so now we got
Yeah.
My understanding is that Recon Parks has essentially washed its hands of any major involvement with the boardwalk. They're focusing on the activities down at their Windward Circle, their events. No, parking lots are actually county. And so they aren't really actively involved with what's going on the boardwalk right now.
I have to cut in here because you're going in the wrong direction. I'm a representative of Jefferson Parks, Sparkle calls, come in, and I'm in charge of the boardwalk, and that's not true. Wait a minute, we're steering in the wrong direction. It's not true.
What's not true?
They haven't washed their hands before, but that's all we talked about the last 3 meetings was the boardwalk.
Then why was I told not to come to those meetings anymore because it wasn't going to be anything about the boardwalk?
That's ridiculous.
That's what I was told.
No, that's all we're talking about. And the thing is that we need you to come to our meetings, and we need your names, because we don't only have meetings. When we have an important meeting, we have it at Victor's office, and we call him the superintendent. And forget the meetings on Wednesday nights once a month, because there we make the general discussion as to how we're going to pull the meeting together in his office. And then we have the supervisors come in. And what I need tonight is your names and calling for the next meeting to come down.
Great, can I have your name too, just so we
Yeah,
know?
see, I'm cutting into a meeting, but I'm not gonna sit here as representative of Recreation and Parks and just not say anything, because that is proper.
What's your input?
Yeah.
So the thing is, we've come a long way, and we're right on the cusp of something now. We cannot tolerate it any longer. I've been working 5 years to get a steam cleaner to come down once every other week, a steam cleaner at the beach. Now, this is how far we've got. We had the superintendent down, and I said, look, you are installing this thing because there's a part missing in the steam cleaner. I'm going to put up $500 of my own money to get that part. Well, he stopped me right there. He said, don't say that. I'm putting up the money. We're putting up the money. You're not putting up the money. I said, when is the money being put up? We'll have that steam cleaner fixed right away. Now, the last meeting was they got the parts for the steam cleaner. This is how these people work. Now, we're calling a meeting this month for the superintendent to come in. If he does not put that thing together and start this thing before Memorial Day, we're going up the ladder into the mayor's office. We're going to tell him we're going to push this thing upstairs, because you cannot make a promise and not keep it. So these are the little picky things we're working out. We got the bathrooms extra clean. No, it's not clean enough to suit me. They got an extra person on a few other people. We got to keep after them. Those bathrooms cannot be filthy. They're getting more of the garbage cans off the beach. You see some big ones coming in. But that beach should not be immaculate like Fifth Avenue, because this is a cultural area of an international cultural area. We don't want this to look like Santa Monica. I can't believe what they've done down there. There's no more culture. It's just nothing but commercial, cheap stuff brought in. Venice Beach is really, really a wonderful place, but it needs to be moderately clean, so that when people come down here, they don't say, this is the filthiest place I've ever seen in my life, but I'm having a great time.
So we can get your info after June was just to say for the next meeting?
Yeah, so what we need at this point is for as many people to show up, even if that little office is crowded, to crowd this superintendent into getting those parts together. And again, I'm gonna offer, if somebody has to come in and spend a day, I'll pay for it.
Do you know when the next meeting is?
Well, he hasn't called me. Now, what's gonna happen, let me tell you how this place works. He'll call, I'll go in there and say, Annette, we had a meeting, you didn't come to it. I said, I didn't get an email, and you didn't call me. Then he'll show me an email, but it's on the wrong address. You see what goes on?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going in tomorrow, and then I'm gonna see that there's a meeting before the 15th, and then anybody who wants to put their name on this, I will call them personally. Great.
Another important point Parks and Rec that you feel should be here to our meetings to talk about
You've got to
exactly
come
what
with
you're
me
saying?
next time. I'm not doing it without him.
Okay, good.
Because if he doesn't come, then somebody's gonna come and tell him what happened at this meeting.
Good.
And he gets paid to come to meetings, so he'll have to get permission to do this.
So let's circle back around to this number one for discussion, which was the BID, and if anybody wants to bring forward motions for the next meeting to if they have specific ideas relating to that, or either Carl create something that's parallel to but vastly different from a BID that we.
I'll share with you some of the emails that I got on the bid and some of the roadblocks that they found when they started drilling down with the city. And you might find that it's unworkable. I'm okay. I mean, if there's a way to pierce that, I think a bid is great.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if we can get a line item with the city, did you get that email I forwarded to Mark?
I didn't, but I've been doing some investigating on my own. I heard that's the route to go, get the line item, get someone down here.
So I like what you said. Let's get, they're playing games. We need to hold their feet to the
Well,
fire.
it's the game they played for 35 years. Now, did you know this, according to the LA Times, in the editorial section in December, there's $60 million that have been taken off his page and put it into account. And they're going to go to court on it to release some of this funding. We're supposed to get a third of all the movie companies come out there, not coming down here. They're going something, it's probably that fund. And there's $60 million. They have used Venice Beach as a piggy bank for the 35 years I've been down here. And now they're getting a little pressure to play fair. It isn't that they're trying to meet us in the middle. We're not asking them to do that.
Who's they? Who's they?
Downtown, City Hall. We're asking them to just be fair and square about what they do.
Give the revenue back,
Get
that
the-
is his earned.
Get
part
the
of
revenue,
that
but then once we get it back, we have to see that it isn't pulled into some other thing. We've got to have an honest beach here, because it's gonna be sold off at the lowest bidder.
We'll exchange contacts, information. We'll continue the discussion between now and a month from now, and circle back around and see where we are. Next week.
We need a lot of pressure at this point on that superintendent.
So what we need to do is find out where we need to focus the pressure, and then we go to BNC, we go to all the other splitter groups and say, hello, everybody come together, and if they, the way they've been able to do it in the past, like you say, is just because we were so splintered and we were going in a million different directions.
Right.
But now, I've never seen a boardwalk in the 14 years that I've been down here, come together like this. And there are a number of different groups, with Joe, and that's the Visitor Impact Group.
That's exactly right. I was screaming about steam cleaning for the last 5 years, and I was screaming about getting those bathrooms clean. And I was alone in this thing. And all of a sudden, I noticed that this is all coming
People
together.
care. Well, so this is the time to strike while the iron is hot.
So all I want to say before we end on this is that all of this is valid. I like the bid, I like the line item. We need to make a plan for sure. But still, this is a forum where people are going to come and want to give their recommendations on what they want to see regardless of Venice. I don't want to get so caught up in the details that we don't remember that, because we can still filter the information that comes here of what people would like to see, where it goes correctly, whether it goes in part of a long-term bid or the line item, because the line item, we just talked about it, but still no one knows exactly what that would say. Not yet, right?
Let's unpack the line item thing a little bit. What needs to be done is, from what I heard, the BNC needs to make a recommendation to the councilman's office. So Tom, that's for you to make the motion, I guess, of being on the BNC. So you have the support of your council here, and so we want to make that motion to the BNC.
What is the motion?
Well, it starts here, right? So it starts at the Oceanfront Walk Committee and we vet out ideas and that we vote on, and we decide if we're on the same page about it, or at least if there's a majority vote. And then we move it to the VNC, and then the VNC votes on it. And that's the way it works, it's way up the food chain. And the VNC there it goes from the city,
That's
so.
what we want to do.
so-
You be this guy for
Yeah.
all of us that convinces those people on the rest of the board that the boardwalk needs the line item so we can get some funding down here to the city.
So what I've asked Carl to do is to present that in a more formal manner at the next meeting.
So can we talk about on a basic level, like what are things just everyone here would like to see included in that for a minute? Because the things I've heard, the number one thing I've heard that everyone wants to see out of a bid or a line or whatever is security, cleaning, but what else? You know,
Well,
it's like,
what I
we
wanna
can't
see
form a
is
plan
what-
until we know what those things are, correct? Whether it be the line item or not?
What I want to see is 4215 enforced.
That's what I want,
And-
4215.
And I
Right.
think they were taking
Will that
over
get
on-
us that? Would the bids or the line item get us control of the west side?
I can't answer that.
No.
What we really do need some feedback from Parks and Rec, see what their limitations are, because every time, you know, you talk to one of the organizations, oh, we can't do that, you know, a part's broken, oh, you can't have your security guards down here. Now, what's the ordinance that you're talking about in Florida?
215 is the vending ordinance.
Okay, the vending ordinance. Okay, you know, and remember how problematic that was, because nobody
That's
had
coming up.
police didn't want to enforce it. Everybody said, oh, it couldn't be done, and I think it's better than it was 5 or 6 years ago on the boardwalk. It's much better. But, you know, we definitely need some better enforcement. We do need to get somebody from Parks and Rec to come and tell us, one, what are all the roadblocks, you know, the parts and the this and the enforcement issues, so that we know how we can go to council and do a workaround.
That would be maintenance at regular parks. It's not going to be the, I don't know if Victor has anything to do with maintenance or not, but they're the ones that take care of bathrooms, they're the ones that clean.
Well, that's
the sidewalks,
maintenance.
They're the ones, yes, it's maintenance though, it's just one part of ours.
Right.
It's the other
Sanitation
part I'm talking
or
about, they
maintenance?
said they didn't really want to have much to do with the boardwalk anymore.
Okay.
With the
Well,
enforcement or anything like that.
Let's talk about what the core issue is, what you're talking about with creating a line item with the city council, which is actually redirecting tax dollars back to Venice, okay?
First and
So
foremost,
I'd like for you to take that upon yourself to come back and really educate us on how that would work. Because I haven't had anybody to tell me how that would actually translate.
And everyone on this board needs, we need to still like, we don't have a plan. I mean, cleaning and security to go to with a line item, that's not enough. We have to like come up with
well,
something
first and
more.
foremost, you see what they can do. If they can come and take 1 or 2 items off of our plate, and they can police it, if they can steam clean and keep the bathrooms clean, that's a start. Then that's one less thing that the bid has to do.
Well,
And then
that's
we
what
can,
recreation park is doing.
okay,
Right.
well, they're not doing it enough, and we need more money down
We need
there.
more money, and we're after them all the time, and that is our obsession. This is what we, well, parks and recs, and recreation parks, it's an obsession with us. I've been petitions out, we've been downtown, we've been to the Park Advisory Board, and we've been downtown to get more money from the city council. We've done it all, and we've done a lot, because we got the new garbage cans, and we do have extra people on it. But the steam thing has got to be done, we've got to have better light,
Yeah, that sucks.
Okay, so this discussion is going to be, we're going to continue it. Okay?
Another thing, to bring up on
It's
this
at
topic.
the obsessive point now with us.
I was at the last task force meeting in the morning. I was talking to Arturo about the park ranger or the police on here all the time. I asked him to, get a number so we can present it in a line item. The bid, what it would cost to have some officers that are, committed to the boardwalk 24 hours a day, or at least as much as possible. And he told me that he was working with you and he was working with Melissa on this. So I mean, Arturo has a way of putting people off, giving them, telling them what they want to hear at the time. So that's just something that, I hope that you and Melissa will follow up with him to get a budget from him, what it's going to cost to get some officers that will be stationed at the boardwalk all the time, 24 hours a day. They have that station up there And that, that would eliminate all the problems. The vending ordinance, like I said, it would be the people that are on the boardwalk, they know the people who are breaking the law, if they're officers, they can enforce it right on the spot. 90% of the problem would be gone if there was officers that were assigned to the boardwalk every day, and they were the same people that every vendor knew. They would know who's coming new, it's just like us. We see a new face, we know who the new person is on the boardwalk, and it doesn't take 10 seconds to know if they're causing trouble or not. If there's an officer there, they can handle it right away on the spot.
So the objective of this committee then is to form a list of items that people want to see, whether the money comes from a bid or comes from a line item from the city. So let's just do a quick laundry list. So we've got
We need to
security.
get on Toro's office to tell us what that would
What's
cost,
security?
what the cost of having the officer issue.
Issues that people have
Yeah,
expressed having a problem with a lack of security on the boardwalk.
And-
Well, how that security would look, whether it
No, I
was
mean,
private
it's because
security
like
through
theft.
BID or public security would be through more LAPD or a park ranger.
BID could
That's
play
the
the
next
real
level
police
that
too.
we were looking at. But right
That's
now,
what
what
I'm
we're
trying to
listening
get
to
at.
is people saying that they
And
want
this
more
is-
security.
this is all the
So
stuff.
that's just one of the items that would be on this list of things that people are requesting with the boardwalk. The second major issue, of course, is cleanup.
You need to get from
Including
how
your
much it's gonna cost to get the officer
roads,
issue.
that.
Specifically cleanup of the boardwalk itself. There's
And
big junk.
the roads,
Storm drain.
Cesspool.
That's separate.
The storm drain. Does anybody else have any items on their laundry list?
Steam cleaning the boardwalk, better lighting,
And the enforcement of public urination.
maintain the bathrooms.
Could you define better lighting?
a brighter lighting at night. It's very dim.
Okay.
Carl, have you seen the new lights, like in front of, I think it's between 19th and Windward? Is that how long it runs?
Oh, it goes way past Windward.
Does it go to this place?
It goes
No?
almost to Tom's, I think.
It doesn't go to my building, it doesn't go to your building, right? It cuts short some of that.
Those lights, those are the new improved?
Yeah, those things are pretty good.
Yeah, those are good. From 19th down, it's like, there's like 10 lights.
Because when you walk down, when you're walking south on the boardwalk at night, and you go from 19th to 2 buildings later, which is in front of, it's like dark and scary.
It is scary. It's
It's
scary.
right
Where does it get dark and scary?
At 19th.
You mean
19th
south
is
of
at the south
19th?
end, and I don't know where the
Walk
north
down
end
on the way
is.
home.
Okay.
South
And I
of
just want to point out that,
But we like this.
there were people at some meetings I were at who wanted the softer lighting because they live on the boardwalk and they didn't want bright.
I live on the
shining.
boardwalk, I want the bright ones.
Okay, but I'm just telling you, there are other people who have that,
They don't
and
wanna-
one of the reasons
Did you
those
call
lights
that
were
number?
deliberately put in so like.
You gotta put in the new lights. I have lights, but I have the
Further
old ones.
illumination.
You have to get all your neighbors on board.
Okay,
I'll
but
tell
even
them
if you just stayed
that
with
this
cleaning
is-
up and maintenance and, security, I mean, that's a big.
I've got security, cleanup, Rose Avenue storm drain, steam cleaning, lighting, bathroom maintenance. So with that, we're gonna move on to item number 2.
Before we do that, I just want to point out that I was talking to someone today who claimed he was instrumental in cleaning up whatever was going on in Santa Monica. They did it as a nonprofit, and I'll just see if I can get it to put something in writing for me to give to you.
Yeah, right.
So you can consider that as well.
So Melissa's gonna talk about number 2, item for discussion and possible vote.
Okay, so I think we talked about this idea before, but also I went and met with, as a person, not on Ocean Walk, I went and met with Jared about the bid, because I had heard they'd done a bid and a lot of other things, and we had an idea, to not only create a map, but create an application map, and this isn't something that's gonna happen overnight, but I want to come up with a form of how we can collect this information, just simple information from the businesses and the landowners both.
What's your first level, what the concept is?
This is an application, so there's no map right now. Right now, if you go to Parks and Rec, there is no map for the boardwalk.
How about
Not-
on that Siri note?
So the idea is exactly to, instead of just creating a map to print and then have to figure out how we're gonna, money and all of this, if we create a map that just lives online, at least to start, then we don't have to worry about any of that. And you have a lot of local people, including on board too if there was any money involved. He said that they would help us out with that. So, and they're architects who can help us with the overall layout and design. But first we have to collect the information. So, I would like to come up with a form, either an online form or a written form, where we can either go door to door or maybe even a day where we all, just like they did when they did the count for all of the homeless, we scan the boardwalk and get this information, and maybe that comes after. Maybe we can issue some type of press release and try and get it more digitally so we don't have to put all our effort in, but.
Hang on, Melissa, because you're jumping ahead a little bit for people that don't know what you're talking about.
I
Just
know
backing up, hang on, I'm just rewinding, so this will answer hopefully a lot of your questions. So basically in our 4215 research, which is the vending ordinance, which dictates what happens on the west side of the boardwalk, what Melissa discovered was that there is no physical map of the boardwalk that's available to the public in any form, whether it's by Parks and Rec, whether it's by the city, whether it's by anybody. Well, there's private maps and those tourist maps, but that actually shows the layout of the boardwalk, where the buildings are on the east side, which ones are retail, which ones are residential, what the retail is on the west side, where the vending spaces are and where they're not. And so just simply, Melissa very obviously thought, well, gee, why don't we start by looking at a map and see what the layout is. For example, with 4215, which we'll get into that discussion later, but if you had all of your musicians all next to each other, which conceivably could happen, right now it doesn't happen because they just fight it out and say, no, I'm going to be playing my electric guitar here, so you're going to have to go down the boardwalk. But there is no dictation within 4215 that says that musicians can't be within 100 yards of each other. They can literally be having battle of bands, which they perhaps could do.
Exactly. So short term is we need a map just for the public. Long term is we can use that map for all of these things we're trying to plan once we visually can see what even exists, because right now there's nothing.
So then we took it from a map to a smartphone app, so that anybody could download a map of the Venice boardwalk. Sylvia, your comment.
I just wanted to say that the outreach committee has assigned some people to walk the boardwalk and inform them of the VNC. So this could be coordinated so people would not have to do that same thing twice, and you should coordinate with us, and we should figure that out together so that.
Awesome.
So when you're talking about the boardwalk, you're talking about the west side of the boardwalk.
I thought, no, east side.
East side.
East side of the boardwalk.
We're going on both sides of the boardwalk.
You're
I
the one
wanted
talking about the west side.
to be clear with what you're
Right,
talking
but you're not talking about getting the vendors that are
No,
sitting out
but
on
defining the
west
spaces, the map right now doesn't even really show like where the performance spaces are and where, so yes, but mostly it.
But I mean, I don't know, I can help you with the map, but we can certainly help you with getting the name of all the businesses that are along the east side so that you can put them.
Yes.
And you're not, and do you want the west, I mean, I don't know about the west side.
Well, we're going to get into 4215 in a minute.
Okay.
Yes, we want to map out, well, at least where the stalls are on the west side at this point in time. And when we get to 4215, we'll tell you why we want them, why we feel like it's important, how those stalls are designated.
Tom,
So,
I just recently started a whole new website with a mobile app, and I'm going to have all of the restaurants and businesses, and that's my goal, is to get everything done. I've got hotels on it.
Great.
It's called
So you already have a lot of that as well.
VeniceBeachHotels.com.
Great.
Does that include up to Speedway?
No, I wasn't planning on going that far east. It could.
Okay, because there are some businesses that are really vital to the boardwalk, but they're like up on, like Dudley and Speedway.
You know,
You're
I'll
saying
accept
between the
any-
boardwalk
I'll
and
accept anybody
Speedway.
if it's not.
You're saying between.
well, that's something that's, I just realized that,
That's a good
what's
idea.
your names that we were talking about earlier, Edison and Alex with Venice Paparazzi.
It's very similar.
They do some sort of a thing, but nobody does one that's sort of the quote-unquote official, because of course they're advertiser-based. I'm guessing that yours might be as well.
Not necessarily. I don't know. I'm
more
thinking
informational.
it'd be a little more free-form and, you know, give people access to go in and control their own stuff. Because I don't want to be responsible for putting
Updating.
updating it, but if other people come in and then they can go into their module for, you can go in and post your daily specials, whatever it is on your particular business, and then, you know,
Well, anyways, regardless, we can extract information for a more comprehensive map of the boardwalk from what you're already doing, and what I would like to establish today, which is what, when I talked to the parliamentarian about this, which is discussion and for possible vote, is A, do we think this is a good idea as the Oceanfront Walk Committee to develop a map, and B, what is the information that we need in that form, whether it's online or print, to make sure that we do this once and we get everything, and we don't, after we go and get all this information, say, oops, we forgot to get, you know, this business owner, or oops, we could have gotten the building owner and the business owner, and we didn't. So my thoughts are to get both building owner information and the business information, name, contact, email, but I want, for discussion right now, what other information do we need to extract when we do that? So when I do coordinate with outreach, I can say, this is what we've already thought about, are we missing anything? Because I don't want to do this, and then afterwards, it's going to be exhausting to go back and do it again. So, any thoughts? Name, email, phone number, besides this, and do we think it's a good idea?
Well, some people may not want to,
Maybe not, but we can try. They don't have to. All we have to do is try, yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's a free, basically
But
it's
as
free
far as the
advertising.
map is concerned, then it's gonna, I mean,
Maybe website address if you're a business,
Yeah.
you can link through to that.
so you want this to be an interactive map?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
want a lot.
mean, you're doing, okay.
That's
No,
what
but
it's
it
at.
begs the question that because there's, you know, at least one that I know about and probably others that are advertised subscriber based,
Are we stepping on their toes?
you know, the first thing that we do when we create this map and create this app is that people are going to want to, want to advertise on it. And I wonder if there's a conflict there.
There's no conflict in collecting this information. For what we want to do with a bid, a plan, anything, we need this information for long term. So collecting the information and then where it goes after that, I think there's a variety of avenues that it could transpire into. But my basic goal right now is
Is to
there
create
is
the
no
map.
map. We need a map, and we need to know what exists for our purposes of what we're trying to do for a long-term plan for Oceanfront Walk. And because it's a need for both the public and the visitors that come here.
So do you want to put that motion for the committee?
I would,
Because there's not a form.
Yes, there is.
yeah.
Ron showed up. He was
Oh,
the
sorry.
other
So if, just because I'm new to this too, so the motion would be,
I'm going to call you up.
no,
Okay.
I move to, maybe the motion should just be then to collect the data, you know? Not make the map, because then there isn't a conflict. I move to collect the data of both the business owners and the building owners of the Oceanfront Walk. Maybe that's what the motion should be. Just a form, I'm just curious.
And I would add to that the vendor spaces on the west side.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with the data? I think it's more important to have someplace people can go to get.
Right, but once we have the data, that can be established, and then there's no conflict of how the Oceanfront Walk or persons are involved in that beyond this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. I've never,
Because I kind of think.
I have no goal right now to have anything to do with this map beyond this, but if someone else does want to come in that's outside later, I don't have a problem with that either, you know?
So the question is whether or not the Oceanfront Walk Committee is the appropriate forum to collect the data and create a map of Oceanfront Walk. Should the
It's the
Oceanfront
correct
Walk
forum
Committee
to create the data, to collect the data, I think, but do we need to
I-
discuss, I think I can move to collect the data for both, I would like to move to collect the data for both all of the business owners and all of the building owners on Oceanfront Walk.
We want to take the motion?
Anything about parliamentary.
I mean, it's just like if outreach were to say, I move to collect all
We
of
didn't
the,
move.
right,
We
but
just
they got
volunteers to do it.
Right, so we
There
can
was
just do it, so do we not need to
there was
move
no
then?
motions,
I can just do
seconds,
it?
or votings, or any of that.
Certainly do it.
If you want to do it, you can do it.
What do we think?
Well, no, I mean,
Why not?
Why not, right?
but you have to assign people to do it, people have to volunteer to pay certain, I mean, that's where the work is.
Yeah.
No, but the question is whether it becomes an official mandate by the.
When
by
I
this
talked to the
committee
parliamentarian, he said we could discuss and possibly vote. So if we don't feel comfortable voting today, that's fine. I think it would, these things, honestly, I thought it was good because they just seemed like easy practice things for us to move on and try and move forward. But, you know, whatever. If we don't want to do that, that's fine, you know?
That's good.
That was my thought process behind it.
If you want to put a motion forward, then you should do so.
Okay, so I just said, I would like to move to collect all of the data of both business owners and building owners on Oceanfront Walk.
I second that motion.
Okay, so now we vote, correct? All in favor?
You don't get to vote over here.
Just
do
the
we?
people
No.
that are on
There's
the.
four out of five.
Who's, when you say we're gonna collect it, who's gonna?
Abstain?
Sure.
Okay.
Or as we.
Sorry, I have to leave, but
City Clerk.
Carl,
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
time.
Opposed, 0, and you, Patrice, abstain.
Okay, Carl, I'm with the chamber, I'm on the board, and.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Give me an email and I'll come.
Okay, good.
Okay, cool.
Item number 3 for discussion and possible vote.